news. In addition to the fact that the other day the Supreme Court refused to hear the Pennsylvania case where the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court found that Pennsylvania's redistricting was unconstitutional under the Pennsylvania state constitution and has ordered a process to rejigger those districts prior to 2018. There's another case that the Supreme Court itself did take, and that's Gill v. Whitford. And that was a case about the partisan gerrymandering that took place in Wisconsin. They did this in 2011. The argument was that it violated the Equal Protection Clause and the plaintiff's First Amendment freedom of association. This was a ruling by a lower federal court. It went to the Supreme Court of the United States because despite the fact that Democrats won a majority of the statewide assembly vote in 2012 and 2014, Republicans won 60 of the 99 assembly seats. So Democrats got 51% of the vote, and they only got 40% of the seats. They got 51% plus, I should say. So this goes to the Supreme Court. Oral arguments were heard in October. It's quite possible that briefs are now circulating. So members of the court have a sense of how Gill v. Whitford is going. This is conjecture, but very possible. And Ian Millhiser has read some tea leaves and thinks that it is the case that the court is going to find that partisan gerrymandering to be unconstitutional in Wisconsin. This is going to have big, big implications. And the reason why he sees this is that there was a what he calls a fairly routine scheduling order on Tuesday about a case called Rucho versus Common Cause. It centers on congressional maps in North Carolina. As you know, last January, a panel of 3 federal judges struck down North Carolina's maps as being unconstitutional. Gerrymander. Republicans requested a stay from the Supreme Court later, which the court granted. Shortly after the stay, the plaintiffs in the case asked the Supreme Court to put that case on its calendar so that we could expedite this for the 2018 election, right? If the court had granted this motion, it would have allowed the justices to decide Rucho quickly enough to maybe redraw the maps in time for November's election. Everybody following me here? But the Supreme Court denied that request to expedite the case, and they're probably going to put it on in the next calendar year. Why does that tell us how Gill v. Whitford may have been decided? It tells us that because 2 judges dissented to the idea that we would punt this to the next term. And those judges were Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sonia Sotomayor. And if they know how Gill v. Whitford has been decided or will be decided, to have a sense of it because there are drafts going around, they would want this North Carolina case to also be resolved in time for the 2018 election because they would have reason to believe that it would change the maps, making it that much more important to have this done by 2018. It's just speculation, and it's not going to impact North Carolina in 2018, but it may impact Wisconsin in 2018, and it may impact North Carolina 2019 on. So there's your slight flicker of hope for the day, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry,
I feel
we couldn't
so much more relaxed about the Disney theft of our entire tax code now.
Sorry, I couldn't do a little bit better than that. But
we're literally like we're torturing 9-year-olds and destroying families and sending them to a place where actually, ironically, MS-13 is actually a serious threat and a national security issue. One of the reasons that some of those Central Asian countries have higher murder rates than Iraq. And then Disney and the rest of the corporate class and oligarchy stealing all of our assets, but they're going to get a good PR day. But there is a little bit of twinking going on with the Wisconsin redistricting.
And we actually may get to a point where if one party wins the majority of the votes, they more or less will get, that same commensurate amount of representation.
Fucking A.
You gotta be pretty psyched about something like that, right?
That's pretty groundbreaking.
I know it's a little bit crazy, a little bit leftist.
Maybe that party will also abandon their failed incrementalism.
It's
and
very
do something
possible
for immigrants. I don't know.
Let's hope so.
A girl could dream.
A girl can dream.
Or maybe not.
We'll see.
Listen,
it's very, very difficult.
There's only a few things that aren't complicated. Marginal tax breaks for Massapequa and every single thing that Goldman Sachs wants always. And Israel.
Yes.
That's where you can be bold when you're melting those Palestinians with white phosphorus because Hashem said so. Okay, press conference time.